Hi everyone, it's me, Hunter, here at the top of the episode with just a short disclaimer. This episode contains conversations about sexual activity and human reproductive systems. So if you normally listen with your kids or your family, this one might be one to skip. Go listen to one of our episodes where we talk about bathrooms and pooping and all that stuff. Kids love pooping. With that said, enjoy the episode. Welcome back to Privy. Privy is a podcast about bathrooms, recorded from my home bathroom. I'm your host, Hunter Hoover, and I love bathrooms. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for being here in home bathroom once again. We are nearing the end of another summer. Today, at the point of recording, was the first of the like, it might be a little bit early to say it, but I'm hopeful, and so I will say it. But today was the first rains of the season here in the Willamette Valley, and it dumperooed. Lightning struck, and it struck something because it made an explosion, set a car alarm off in the neighborhood that I live in. Thought I had to go to the bathroom, but anyway. Summer's drawing to a close. Privy summer is drawing to a close, and we are at the end of another one. And it's been a full summer. It went by quick, and at the point of this episode's release, I want to key you in on something at the beginning of the episode that to just be mindful of. So here on Privy, we recently, you guys will find out more about that. I'll be telling you about it at a later time. But summer's drawing to a close. Kids are just gearing up for back to school. Parents are wandering around the aisles of pencils and crayons, looking at a sheet of paper, wondering, didn't I buy half of this last year? Yes, you did, parent. Yes, you did. It's so fun. It's so great. Where do they go? Nobody knows. They definitely don't come home with them, so that's cool. Things are kind of starting to cool off, but we're not talking about and we're not here to talk about kids. This episode is not that. Maybe one day, well, sort of. We are going to, today, revisit an episode and a topic from a year or more ago now. And we need to bring closure on something that y'all didn't get last November as promised. I promised you guys something last November, and I did not give it to you. And so today, almost one full calendar year later, we are bringing it to you. I also want to confess, we didn't bring you regular coverage via an episode of the podcast of the America's Best Restroom competition. And the reason we didn't do that is because voting has already ended. So if you're hearing this episode, voting has already ended. Voting ended August 16th. And so, again, we are going to start the countdown to see how long the Cintas Corporation's America's Best Restroom takes to count digital votes. Again, it should be as simple as hitting enter and viewing the totals and then announcing the winner. They should honestly have the winner available to our public knowledge the day of the voting ending. It's baffling to me. It sounds like voter fraud all over again. But more on that. Keep your eyes open as we move throughout the fall season. There will be an episode with full coverage of America's Best Restroom 2024. But today we are returning to the topic of vasectomies. Vasectomies, the history of vasectomies. Last August, we did an episode covering the history and development of the vasectomy. And in short, in 1830, Sir Astley Paston Cooper, an accomplished surgeon and anatomist, I think that means he studies people's anatomy, published his observations on the structure and the diseases of the testes. So this guy studied a lot of junk and came up with his observations and the structure of and the diseases that are found within the male genitalia. And this is the first time that much medical attention was really paid to the tube inside the male genitalia that carries male reproductive fluid, the vas deferens. The first recorded, so Sir Astley Paston Cooper did his research. The first recorded vasectomy on a human, because heavens knows they gave the old snip snip to a bunch of animals to figure out how to do it on people. Hey. The first vasectomy on humans for the purpose of sterilization, it makes you wonder, did they perform one of these for a reason other than sterilization? And if so, how did we get there? Like, imagine being the guy that's sitting staring down and going, what? That don't go there. But the first vasectomy on a human for the purpose of sterilization was performed by Henry Clay Sharp, fitting last name, we said, to sterilize inmates at prisons. And this was a form of rollout related to eugenics. The idea being, if we snip snap the convicts, they can't reproduce and make little convicts. Not great. Here we are. With much research and theory in his back pocket, the first of these punitive vasectomies was performed on a 19-year-old in the year 1899. And it should be noted, this inmate technically requested it, but he actually requested to be fully castrated, and Sharp was like, why don't we try something different? Let's try this new thing that I've been working. In 1956, the first clinical trials of a female oral contraceptive are underway. That's important because female oral contraceptive, that is contraceptive taken by the mouth that prevents a woman from becoming pregnant, would do a lot to make it to where men would not need to get a vasectomy. But by 1960, it becomes the first female contraceptive for sale in the U.S. It wasn't until 1965 that laws banning birth control and contraceptives are struck down in the courts. So female contraceptive is predominantly the growing use of preventing pregnancy. A year later, in 1966, The Lancet announces the Simon Population Trust to promote the sterilization in Britain and to counter misinformation that sterilization was illegal. Now, in 1971, the vasectomy finally became an accepted method of birth control. So right around 10 or so years after female oral contraceptive is introduced and not at first widely used, it had a lot of stigma, but the male vasectomy in 1971 began to be accepted as a method of birth control. It is noted that this method is preferable to female sterilization, that is the removing of the female reproductive organs, as it presents less risk to the man. It has a shorter recovery time. There was state-sponsored projects in other countries. Of note, India has sponsored multiple sterilization programs. At some point, there are thousands upon thousands of people who receive a vasectomy to help control population in these areas. Now, in 1974, they developed the no scalpel method of a vasectomy, which sounds great because if you have the bits, scalpels do not belong near them. Sharp, bad. But the no scalpel vasectomy was developed by Dr. Li Shun Chang. Let's go with that. And it was not popular at first. It was more out of necessity, but the procedure essentially squishes and stretches the brains in order to puncture a small hole wherein they go in and do the procedure. It was first performed in the U.S. by a doctor who traveled to China to learn about it and then brought the procedure back in 1989. And by then, the procedure had begun to spread. Truly, when it comes to vasectomies, that in many ways brings us up to modern day. And there's not a lot of big history around vasectomies. We're going to talk a little bit about the future. It is what it is. But I need to introduce to you now a very personal part of vasectomy history. That is the part in which I get one. And I'm here to share my vasectomy story in a very, very special long-form edition of Hunter's Anecdotes to keep you afloat. I'm going to tell you, something that has really slowed their floats are my little swimmers. In the fall of 2022, my wife, former guest on the show, Anna, and I started to have serious conversations about having more kids. And we arrived at the conclusion that we were content with the children that we have been given. We're We're very thankful. Every day is an adventure, and we love our kids very much. And we knew, and this is what I knew, next part of the conversation was, me, Hunter, your host, hi everyone, am I going to go get fixed? And this is what I knew going in. So Hunter in the car driving back from Thanksgiving dinner, what I know about vasectomies is it involves something in the male nether region. And as invasive as having a man, preferably a man, please God, let it be a man, snip part of the inside of your nards, for a lady to have a procedure done not to have kids is way, way more invasive, and it has the potential for way, way more problems to occur. And so, at a wellness checkup in winter 2023, I let my doctor know, my wife and I are wanting to get a vasectomy. Like we've talked about it, and this is kind of where we're leaning. Now, he told me that he would schedule an appointment for me to meet with a urologist to set one up. And I don't know what I was expecting. I don't know, like, if I was expecting for him to, like, take my name down and schedule a day for me to, like, have him do this procedure. But it makes total sense that he has the, like, urinary tract wiener doctor expert person do this procedure. Like, it makes a lot of sense. And I'm thankful for it. But he says, we'll get a hold of the urologist and we'll have them set up a meeting. And so at this point, this was at the point in my doctor's checkup that I began asking questions. And the first question I asked him is, doctor, like, I got a question. I make this podcast. It's about bathrooms. Do you think I'd be allowed to record my vasectomy? Now is probably a good time to tell you about the female medical student who was doing her practicum with my doctor. Her face, when I asked, can I record my vasectomy, said only one thing. This is what her face read. It said, who the flip is this weirdo who wants to record his vasectomy? Don't worry, lady, more to come. More good questions are on the way. But the doctor, he answered, I think, as honestly as he could. He said, I don't think so, probably not, but you're going to have to ask your urologist. It's totally up to him. And so much like the fellas from Dumb and Dumber trying to woo Mary, once they find out that she is like engaged or married or whatever, I'm thinking there's a chance. But more is to come. And so I was doing some work at the time preparing for my pregnancy test episode. And at this point in the game, I had already, as a male adult, peed on a pregnancy test stick to see what it would do. And so I asked the doctor the other question on my tongue, which is, Doc, if I, as a male adult human, pee on a pregnancy test and it comes back positive, does that mean I have a hernia? And he just kind of looked at me, and at this point, the lady now was like, she has got to be thinking, this is way outside of what they have prepped me for at medical school. And I would like to say you're welcome for giving you this experience, ma'am. Ma'am, if you're hearing this, I doubt you are. Mostly because, from what I can tell, the demographic of listeners to this podcast is primarily male. Ladies, if you're out there, shout out. I hope you enjoyed Shaloa's last episode. I learned a lot. Thank you, Shaloa. But I think she was outside the realm of what she was maybe prepared for as a medical student. But I was informed that peeing on a pregnancy test as a male, it probably doesn't do much to key in on a hernia, but it can give some indicators about hormones and other concerns that can be in place when you have other significant problems such as cancer or other things that can cause problems in your, I don't know, hormones and tract. So that's fun. I did not, for any that want to know, I did not test positive. I was not pregnant. At the time, it was still a possibility. Heyo. But I walked away thinking in the back of my mind, okay, ball, get it, is in their court. My balls are literally in their court now. They are going to have to call me if they want me to get my nards worked on. It's on you. And so, as February passed, then March, I'm starting to think, must not have been meant to be. They never called me. I guess I'll just have to not do it. Maybe we could just be careful and things will just work out. That'd be fine. And then one day I'm sitting at lunch and I get a call from urology, and I'm like, sweet Lord, it's happening. FCon 5, the call is coming. I set up an appointment and I went in, and this appointment that I set up was described to me as, quote unquote, a screening. Now, I went in and I sat down, and my fundamentalist evangelifish church-going heart was not ready for some of the diagrams in this doctor's office. Dear Lord, and I want to note, those parts of the human body are good parts made by our very good God, but it doesn't prepare you for the photos and the diagrams of the inside of the female cervical cavity. Like, it just does not, nothing is going to prepare you when you go in for your debrief about your future testicle surgery to see that. You're just not ready for it. And when you're accompanying your wife to the baby checkup to the lady doctor, absolutely. You're going to see all sorts of lady stuff. Was not prepared for this. Help me, Father. Also, the diagram of the urethra, not sure it was something that I needed. But I waited, and I took in the sights. Moments went by, and finally the knock came at the door. And this was it. I was prepared to answer his questions. I had my questions, both personal and podcast associated, ready. And he came in and he asked me some questions. He gave me the typical disclaimers about how the vasectomy is intended to be permanent. Yeah, I know. And that it's not 100% effective, but it proves like 99.9% effective against preventing pregnancy. And I'm thinking, I'm answering all the questions. Like, are you married? Does your wife know you're here? How many kids you got? Are you content with all of these are like pre-screener questions. I was like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. And I'm absolutely crushing this. I was doing great with the screening. He asked if I had any concerns, and let me see. Yeah, I got lots of those. He asked me if I had any irregularities. Let me see. Does my stuff have any irregularities? Not something I've ever thought about. I haven't done any comparing in my life, so that was good. Anna has never made mention that there's anything irregular. So I said no. And I'd answered all his questions. I was doing great. The screener was a success, and he asked if I had any questions. My first question out of the gate was, does it hurt? Obviously. And the guy says, yes, but most of the pain comes after the procedure in the healing process. He walked me through expectations. He made sure I knew on the day of the procedure I would need to be smooth as a baby's backside round the zone. We'll cross that bridge later. And now, moment of truth. He put it back to me. Any other questions? And I asked him. We were here. I'm not going to not ask. Privy listener, I want you to know that I used part of my vasectomy check-in for you. Can I record my vasectomy, doc? Now, I probably should have prefaced that I have a podcast. I did not do that. I just dropped it on him. I said, can I record my vasectomy? And this man just kind of stares at me for a second. He didn't ask why. All he says was, no, you cannot. And so I asked him, I said, can I ask why I'm not allowed to record my vasectomy? And he said, yes, it's a liability. People can perform differently when they're being recorded. And we want the doctor's performance to be the best it can be. And we don't want any outside influence to cause him to have any problems during your procedure. Now, as much as I love y'all, Privy listener, I love y'all. But he's right. The man carrying the thing, the sharp object near my manhood, I want him operating at peak functionality. So I dropped it. Understandable. I was defeated. But at least the screener had gone perfectly, and I was done. And that was when the doctor said, well, if you don't have any more questions, I just need to check your anatomy. And I said, okay. And then I sat there, and he said, I need to do a physical. Could you please drop your pants? Now, I'm a moderately private person. And in all my life, I have been a part of screening processes. You're screening for things. And in those screening process, there's not a lot of pants dropping and exposing yourself that happens. I was not ready for this. I don't know what I expected. I didn't expect to be dropping trow today. But I did it, and he did his portion. And he reported that I, quote, have loose anatomy. Now, I don't know whether to be flattered or frustrated, but he told me it was, quote unquote, a good thing and that they would be able to snip my stuff, that he thinks they're going to be able to do it. And I'm sitting here thinking, are there people that come in for a vasectomy pre-screener and they get through all of your questions and then you say, okay, I need you to drop your pants and expose yourself to me so I can get up in there. And you do that and then you say, yep, we don't think the vasectomy is going to work. Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing, but no deal. Would be wild. If you're a listener and you've been through the vasectomy pre-screening process and you've had them turn you away, please reach out to me. I would love to hear your story. I left the doctor's office that morning with fondled berries and a date set for the operation, August 2023. And now I'm going to describe to you what was truly the worst part of my entire vasectomy experience. It had nothing to do with knives. It had nothing to do with cutting. It had nothing to do with pain. It was the psychological toll leading up to the day of the vasectomy. In the coming months, I spent plenty of time fearing the worst. Doctor slipping, cutting everything off, asking friends about their experience. Hey, have you had a vasectomy? What was it like? And I heard the gamut of answers. Some friends were helpful and reassuring, saying, I'm glad I did it. 2 or 3 days after kind of suck, but it was totally worth it. Others, like former guest on the show, Josh Wehrman, told me that the doctor was going to, quote unquote, give me a shot to numb my wiener straight into the pee-pee hole. Parents, if you're listening, and your kids normally listen to the show, I probably should have put this disclaimer up at the front. We'll move this, we'll put an explicit tag, dang it, Coach Wehrman. Thanks, counselor. Truly lost sleep. I really did. Jokes aside, put jokes in the closet for a second. I truly did lose sleep over dreading my vasectomy. I want to also note, the doctor does offer you anti-anxiety drugs to help you chill during your procedure, but you have to tell them beforehand that you want them, because you have to be cognizant in consenting to your procedure and all of the other things, and so you can't take it. There's a whole thing about it. And at times I was laying there at 2 o'clock in the morning, dreading, thinking there's 3 weeks left, and I'm thinking, maybe I should have opted for the anti-anxiety drugs. Instead of that, I lost sleep for a few months. It was fun. And then it was there. But first, shaving. I will share, I bought a new sensitive skin men's razor for the occasion, and I'm not going to endorse any one brand. But what I can say is nutscaping their zone happens. And for this, I would need to get real close, and I did not want to nick the jibbies. We got it done. Closest shave I've ever had to date. Probably not going to get that intricate on the shave job ever again. And then following morning, we went in. Drove me into the doctor's because we thought, well, maybe she can come back and sit there and be with me while I have them do this procedure. She was not allowed to do so. So I went back by myself, submitted myself to the doctor for my procedure. I was told to, quote, strip down, and I piled my clothes on the chair. And then I sat, stuff hanging out, boom, waiting, air drying it, baby. And I waited, and I can hear doctors talking. I can hear the little nurse people talking. And I'm in there for 30 to 45 minutes. And I'm going, did I really need to not have my pants on for this part? I could have done for a small towel to cover, large towel to cover, you know what I'm saying? But then the nurse lady come in. Yes, lady, come on. My pee-pee is hanging out, and you sent a lady in? It's medical. I know it's not a thing. They're trained, but still. And she comes in and then she says, well, have you been debriefed? And I'm like, I know it's not the time for jokes. And I did not make this joke in the moment, but I would like to note I was very debriefed. But I said no, but that I was staring at the big tray of sharp sharp scalpels for the last 40 minutes. And she goes, and so she goes out, and then the doctor boy comes in, thank you, Jesus, and said that I was ready, and he gave me the Cliff's Notes about the procedure. He told me what he's going to do. He's going to cut a small incision, see the large tray of scalpels in the corner. He's going to go in, snip, snap, cauterize, snip, snap, cauterize, tuck, sew, we'll be out in a jiffy. And so he gives me that, and he told me that the nurse lady, now he's going to go out, and the nurse lady is going to prep me. Now, when they say that they're going to prep you for a vasectomy, one, it does not mean emotionally. And two, it mostly means wiping down your nethers and cleaning a zone with this strange brown stuff, I think to sterilize everything, make sure everything's ready. I want to say, a little feedback, and it probably needs to be. It's probably a medical reason why it is. But that cleaning solution is flipping cold, man. You do not expect anything that cold to be on you when you are that exposed to another person. It's just bad. It doesn't do well to help things along. You know what I'm saying? But then finally, at long last, 40 plus minutes in a debrief and a bad debriefing joke in, the doctor finally comes in. I'll be brief, mostly because the procedure itself is the worst part of the whole vasectomy experience. except for the mental anguish, which you can totally avoid if you hear this, listener. If you're thinking, oh man, I'm on the fence, I better hear what Hunter has to say. I'm gonna tell you, you can avoid a lot of the mental anguish by hearing this. The worst part physically of the vasectomy is the pinch when they numb you. You'll feel a pinch. It's kind of like when you go to the dentist and they say, oh, a little pinch, and you feel the pinch, and it's like, dear God, no. And after that, you don't really have a lot of feeling. There's some tugging, and it kind of feels like if you're a guy and you've been kicked in the groin, it kind of feels like that feeling, but it is like you can feel pulling. It's like a pulling ache, but it's mostly numbed. And the most striking sensation of the whole thing is the smell. And you're thinking, oh, I bet it's awful. I bet it literally smells like a barbecue because they're cauterizing your tube inside, and it smells like a barbecue. And I even like made comment. I was like, oh man, that kind of smells like barbecue. And then the next thing you know, and he's like, all right, we're sewing you up, and then you're done. You don their protective undies, the gauze and the stitches. You kind of waddle out of the place, and you're off. And I want to note, it was a bummer that the doctor told me that I was not able to record this experience. It's a bummer because what the doctor doesn't know can't hurt him. And so the following few minutes of audio are some very edited sections of my time in the vasectomy room. It was originally like 45 minutes long due to the fact that I sat there for so long. But here it is from what you can tell. This is audio taken of my little vasectomy journey.
Can I come in?
Yeah, I'm naked from the waist down, but
Okay.
Yep.
Have a seat in the bed though. Come
oh,
on.
okay.
Any allergies?
Just seasonal, nothing like
I did ask
medication or
you
anything.
that. I was like, never mind. Good ask. Okay, let's see.
Yep, sorry.
No, you're fine. Lay it down, okay?
Okay. Oh.
You okay?
Oh yeah, I just as okay as I can be.
Okay. A little bit higher.
Okay.
Let's see. Is that comfortable?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna do is prep you.
Okay.
Gonna clean the area. Get you going.
Okay.
We're gonna be using surgical soap, so it's kind of cold.
Okay.
Let's mix with alcohol. Okay. Have you met Dr.? Oh, you haven't met him?
No, well, unless tall guy, the guy who did my like screening. So I don't think that was him.
Okay. Well, let me bring you back down.
Okay.
I was like, wait a minute. So you can talk to him real quick, okay?
Okay.
So just hang inside. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine.
I was like, I remember this morning we were like huddling. I was like, mine hasn't met with the doctor.
Yeah.
I was like, ah.
No.
Okay, I'll be back.
Okay.
Hunter, I'm just waiting for him to get out of the room, okay?
Okay.
Sorry about the wait.
Nope, thank you.
How we doing?
Hey, very
Hey,
good.
sorry about that. We're having
Hey.
a little bit of a scheduling kind of weird thing
Oh,
going
no
on
worries.
out there, but I got to figure it out.
Yeah, no
Hey,
worries.
man. Sorry, that's all like kind of what are we doing tonight?
Right.
All right, do you have any questions about this thing?
Not really. I mean, I'm here now, so like, how many have y'all done? That's only like.
I don't know. I stopped counting probably.
Okay, that's all I want to know.
Probably around 600 to 700
Oh,
right now,
okay.
something like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cool.
Might be closer to 1,000. I don't know. We do a lot.
Okay. That's hey.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna ask that. You never
Yeah.
know.
Yeah. Many.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, man. Yeah. So she'll get you. All,
Okay.
Yeah. Go for it. What do you got?
Well, I was gonna say they haven't done the cleanup thing yet. They were waiting.
Oh yeah, she'll get you all
Sweet.
set up. I'll be back in a few minutes. Okay.
Okay.
Nice meeting you.
Yeah. Appreciate it.
All right.
All right. Sorry for the wait.
No, that's fine.
I was like, it's taking longer than expected. Let's try this again.
Okay.
Okay, I am gonna expose you, okay?
Yeah, you're.
All right.
I assume that's part of it.
Yeah. You have any kids?
2.
2.
Yep.
Seems to be the magic number.
Yeah.
Okay, cold soap. Really cold. No ice, right?
Yep. You're spot on with that.
Doing okay?
Yeah. So far,
Good.
I assume it's normal to be nervous. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then how your anatomy is, I don't want to call it too soon, but it's nice and loose. So
Okay.
usually it's 1 incision instead of
Okay.
2.
Okay.
But I'll let him decide that.
Yeah. Okay.
And which is great, and the process is faster.
Okay.
It's already fast as it is, you know, it doesn't take forever.
Yeah.
And he'll let you know what he's doing.
Okay.
All that good stuff, okay? Alright, so can you lift your shirt up?
Yep.
There you go. That way it doesn't touch the sterile drapes. So I'm just putting the drapes here. How old are they?
6 and 4.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. They're actually heading to swim lessons right now with Grandma and Grandpa.
Oh, cute.
Here we are.
Like, someone's watching them. Okay, so you're gonna feel me, okay?
Okay.
Moving stuff around.
Okay.
Really slippery because I just washed everything off. Just want to make sure they don't fall off once we're in there. Okay, dokie, so no touching the area at all.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a tray over your legs, okay?
Okay.
No kicking or screaming.
Yeah.
Try not to, at least. You don't want to get poked by accident or something. Put it up a little bit more. Okay. I'll be literally right over your legs, okay?
Okay.
Okie dokie. All right, I'll be back.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, man. Can we do it?
Guess so. I was asking if it's normal to be nervous, but
It would be, I think, a little weird if you weren't nervous.
okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. All right, Dan. So the first part of this, there'll be some kind of adjusting and everything of the bed. Actually, I'm gonna usually wear a face shield for this. I'll be right back.
Yeah. Just me touching the leg.
I imagine it's one of those things where it's just like you're better off to just not look. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. I don't think anyone looked.
Nobody's looking down there while it's happening.
Sometimes, but
Really?
yeah, sometimes.
Yeah. You know what? Good for them.
Yeah. Anyway, as I was saying, just kind of some adjusting and squeezing kind of as we get started, and then when I do the injection for anesthetic, I'll count it down 3, 2, 1, so you know exactly when to expect it. You can hold as still as possible because if you jerk your legs, I can choke you somewhere else.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Sometimes, depending on how well your anatomy cooperates, we can do it through a single incision, which is great because
Okay.
we're only making 1 incision.
Okay.
I think we might be able to do that for you, but I have to examine you to see if that's going to be possible. All right, I think we can do it. Okay. All right, here comes a poke. 3, 2, 1, poke. And a burn. You notice some deeper pressure here. Keep holding still, okay? Doing great. Good. You doing okay?
Yeah.
Good.
I assume if I feel something, I should tell you.
Well, yeah, that's fine. If it's really painful, I think it'll be very obvious, but you're going to have sensations throughout the procedure.
Okay.
Pulling, kind of tugging, pressure is very common.
Okay.
May even feel like you got kicked in the nuts. But the really sharp pain are the things that we can certainly avoid with more anesthetic. So.
Okay.
You doing all right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that move sometimes can cause a little bit of twinge, but it seems like you're doing great, so.
That's some fast or like local, whatever.
Oh yeah.
It's like they make you wait forever at the dentist, but I guess it's different.
Yeah, because it's more of they do blocks. So yes, they inject and it takes a while for that to infiltrate and numb the entire area. So this, I'm injecting like directly. We're really working in a relatively small area. They block an entire nerve essentially, and we're just kind of doing very more localized anesthesia, so it diffuses through the tissue quicker. All right, man, halfway home.
All right.
Seems like you're doing great.
Okay.
You feeling okay?
Yeah, I haven't felt anything yet, so.
That's great. All right, so we need to do another injection. You won't feel it in the skin, but you're going to feel it deeply, okay?
Okay.
So hold as still as you can. 3, 2, 1. Give you a little more juice. And a couple more zingers on this side. Doing all right, man?
Yeah.
Good.
Taking in the smell.
Yeah, a nice little kind of burnt vasectomy.
Yep.
Burnt vas smell.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Stitch. Squirt. Home stretch here, dude.
Okay.
All right, man. We're done. You did great. Yeah. You did
Wow.
well. All right, I'll check back with you in a moment, okay?
Just a sec though. Okay, I'm gonna put all the sharp first.
Okay. Oh yeah, the tray.
Yeah. We don't want to
Go ahead. Yeah, that's fair. Man, that was insane quick.
Yeah, I told you it's pretty quick. It's pretty good too.
You know, I think the worry leading up to today was worse than the actual.
Than the actual procedure, right?
Yeah, my buddy, I think everybody's different, but my buddy said, yeah, you're gonna feel like you got kicked while he's doing it.
Oh, sometimes yes.
I genuinely, when he said you're halfway there, I was like, well, one's done then, because
Exactly.
I felt a tug once, I think.
Yeah, some people are more sensitive actually when he comes to the left side. They will feel that punch.
Oh, the left, huh?
Uh-huh.
Oh, mine was I think it was towards the end when you were on the right.
Well, yeah, but he was on the left.
Oh, I see, okay.
Yeah, when we
Yep,
switched
okay,
spots.
well then, yeah, that was it then, the left was it.
Yeah,
Why is that?
I think it's the body actually it's like, oh wait, there's something going on. It's reacting to it,
Interesting.
But Dr. has always said that when he's on the left side, it's always more sensitive. Yeah. Almost threw away instruments. Feeling okay then?
To my knowledge, yeah.
Awesome.
I assume it starts to hurt when the stuff wears off.
Well, it's gonna be uncomfortable. So for the next 48 hours, take it easy, rest. Rest pretty much.
Yeah, I work at the high school, so that's kind of why
You gotta listen
it was
because
today.
patients sometimes don't listen and they go home and they want on and.
Oh no, yeah, I did all that last week.
Yeah.
I'm allowed to walk though, right?
Yeah, just don't overdo it.
Oh yeah, but I can
Literally
move
be a
around
couch
the house
potato
and-
if you can.
And then the other question that maybe, I don't know, is when can I shower?
Oh, you can shower. Just don't soak it, don't get soaking it.
But okay.
Yeah.
Did he end up just doing the one?
Yeah.
Oh, hey, there you go.
Yeah. That's why he was making fun of me when he's like, I don't need that. I already have an incision.
Got it.
And I was like, oh, I knew that. Just some little dots for some spotting there.
Okay.
You're gonna hold it in place.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. It's more the weight than what it takes, honestly.
Yeah,
And that's how it is. Especially when the patient's like cooperating.
Yeah.
It makes everything go so much smoother.
I finally quit reading stuff because
Yeah,
everybody's
don't.
different.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you a to-go package, okay?
Okay.
So, have a jock strap.
Okay.
Ice if you need it.
Okay.
And then so, here's how to collect semen analysis, okay?
Got
So
it.
you're gonna do it in 3 months.
Okay.
This just tells you the basic stuff of how to collect it, but it does not include like, so right now, no masturbation, no sex for 7 days
Okay.
after surgery.
Okay.
At least 20 ejaculations prior to the 3 months,
Okay.
and 3 days before the sample, abstinence.
Okay.
Okay, no
Yep.
sex, no masturbation, no lotions, lubes, nothing in the area. Clean sample.
Got it.
Read the instructions. Call the labs where you're gonna drop it off, because sometimes they have different protocols. Okay. And then I'll give you the cup here. November 16th. This is the day you can go.
Target date. There you go.
This is the day you gotta do it. Okay, if you want to.
Sure. I'll put that back.
Yeah, no
I
problem.
assume I should put this on
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Go ahead and get dressed.
Do I leave the gauze
In place.
in place? Okay.
Yeah.
When can I take it off? Whenever.
Oh, once you get home.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Let me take this out.
And I'm good to stand up and
Yeah,
move
if you
about.
feel, yeah, if you feel fine, yeah.
Okay.
Just get dressed and stay in the room, okay?
Okay.
It's gonna come back and talk to you pretty much, tell you the same thing, not just.
Okay. Sounds good.
All
Can I
right.
just put this over here
Yeah,
or on the
worry.
floor? Or?
Yeah, we can throw in that basket too.
Okay.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Go ahead and get dressed, okay?
Yep.
How you doing, man?
Good.
Good.
Yeah.
Great.
Here we are.
That's where it's supposed to go. So you got one stitch,
Okay.
one incision. That stitch will fall out over the next, 1 to 2 weeks. Don't soak in a tub and go swimming until the stitch is gone.
Okay.
You may shower starting tomorrow. Just warm soapy water. Don't scrub it really hard or anything
Okay.
like that. No sex or masturbation for the first week.
Okay.
After that, let her rip. You want to get 20 ejaculations over the next 2 to 3 months. Continue to use some other sort of contraception. Then you do your semen test. Okay.
Yep.
If you have any questions, any concerns, by all means, give us a call.
Okay.
All right.
Alrighty.
Really couch potato it for the next
Yeah.
48 hours.
What's the like at this point? What's the concern of like? I don't know. What would be the biggest thing?
So if you lay low and don't do really anything for the next 48 hours, you should be totally fine. Okay. The problem that you get into is when people do too much activity too early, you could have lots of extra pain, but then it also raises your risk for bleeding. Okay. I've never
I'm
had
not a fan of that.
never had a big scrotal hematoma, and I don't really want to start with you.
Perfect. Yeah. Oh yeah. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, that would be the thing to watch out for,
Okay.
is swelling that's getting progressively larger quickly. Over the next few days, if you develop redness, drainage, that kind of stuff, by all
Got
means,
it.
give us a call.
Looks like bruising, kind of. Is that what that?
Bruising is normal, but if you're
Okay.
seeing like this stuff where it's getting red and
Got it.
inflamed and swollen and
Got
spreading
it.
away from the incision, that's what we want to hear about.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
All right, man. I'll get
Sweet.
back to you. All right.
Cool.
You did great.
Hey, thank you.
Cool. Take care.
We're back. Aftercare for the vasectomy is pretty simple. Keep the undies supported and take it easy. I took that seriously because they told me that if you don't take it easy and you push through and you tear something, you get to go to the emergency room, and emergency room plus PP are not combos that I ever want. I will share one excellent roast that I had on myself from all this that I found very interesting. I found it very enlightening here. So I had bought some athletic support underwear to don the weeks after the surgery to help keep things supportive and in place. Listener, hear me. I'm less than skinny. That's a nice way to say I'm large sized. So I bought underwear, these supportive underwear, sized for my waist, size large. And Anna, when looking at these underwear, these jockstrap underwear, sports athletic supporter underwear, made the comment, you really think you need large, huh? Good one, babe. We got it. Thank you. All right. But it
Those
did have
with a
one.
keen eye will notice there's been a wardrobe change.
But this is Hunter, kind of the future, but also still of the past for you, listener. When I recorded the episode about my vasectomy journey, I forgot to share one of the very, very most important and awkward parts of this story, and that is the part where you go get your stuff tested. So after the procedure, you have to wait essentially 3 months, and you have to have that adult human male experience. This is awkward. 20 times. You heard it in the recording with the lady. So just to, I guess, clear out the pipes. I don't know. I think that's the theory behind it. Really, really clear out the pipes. But after you do that, you then have to place a specimen in a cup, which then you have to, quote, keep warm by storing it in your pocket, and then you have to drive that to the hospital, the lab area, within like a half hour or so of having produced that specimen. Now, number one, terribly awkward, because when you walk in there and you're like, I have a specimen for the lab, once they realize what that specimen is, they can just roll back the clock and they can put together the exact nefarious deeds you've been up to in the last half hour. But the other thing is there's something about walking into the hospital, casing your own bodily fluids in a plastic jar. There's nothing quite like it. And again, yeah, just terribly awkward. But results dropped off, and just a few hours later, next day, I got the phone call, got the all clear. I believe the exact words were, and I quote, just like Beyblade, let 'em rip. So I wanted to make sure I hopped on here and shared that with you guys, and now there will be a wardrobe change back into the old all right. But I did have one musing from all this. Though the scalpel-free procedures are more recent, some doctors, such as mine, still opt to go for the old-fashioned scalpel method, and boy howdy did he have some scalpels on hand. And I'll tell you, woof, like, they're sharp. But it turns out a lot of doctors still, this is the end of Hunter's anecdotes to keep you afloat. Back to the present and the history of vasectomies. It turns out many doctors still opt for the full scalpel version. That's pretty cool. And here I am, fully healed and fertile as heck. I'm a year in on this, and all is well. Men, if you and your wife are done having kids, I highly recommend it. There are some things in the future for vasectomies, and if you're sitting there going, well, I don't know, I'm pretty worried about it, maybe I'll have my, don't make your wife do what the women have to do to get their situation sterilized. Women in having babies undergo an awful amount of pain, and it's a great ordeal, and it is an awful, like, the process of having the child is a very good thing, but like getting to that point where that child is exposed to fresh air, it's an awful experience. Like, there's a lot of anguish. If they can do that, men, and you and your wife are done having kids, you can get your vas deferens snipped. You can do it. I believe in you, but only if you're done. But there are things in the future for vasectomies, in many ways, rather male birth control. One thing is they are trying out this gel called Risug gel, where this gel is injected in order to block the flow of semen, and then it can be medically, quote, flushed later if the man decides that he wants kids. Now, this is kind of like a designed reversible vasectomy. Now, vasectomies are reversible, but they're not intended to be. So, like, no. That Risug gel has about a 4% failure rate compared to vasectomies, which has less than 1%. So there's that. But there's no snip snap to the jibbies. And a lot of it's still being tested and perfected. They've also done some research on the male pill, which would be male oral contraceptive, which would stop men from reproducing and getting a woman pregnant. The holdup on the male pill is this. The female birth control pill is easier to swallow. Get it? Because it's a pill. But it is because many of the side effects of female oral contraceptives are viewed as safer, quote unquote, than the effects of pregnancy on a woman's body. And so then the thought process behind this is you could get pregnant, which is taxing, people do die from being pregnant. Or you could take the pill, which is less taxing, but it does have some side effects. But those side effects are not as great as the effects on your body if you got pregnant. The problem is with the male pill, the act and process of getting, being, and producing from pregnancy on the male is pretty non-invasive. Like, the process is pretty enjoyable, you know? Yeah. But now to introduce this male contraceptive pill, you would have to show that this pill is on the same level of invasiveness as essentially taking a vitamin, that it is not going to have any side effects, because the alternative, which is doing nothing, has no side effects. Being pregnant for men doesn't have a lot of side effects, except for lifelong duty to your child. Figure it out. Go be a dad. They're working on it. Male contraceptive options other than vasectomies. The side effects remain mostly unacceptable for the male pill at this point. And so, for myself and the other millions of men who have opted for mostly permanent contraceptive methods, we have had a vasectomy and we go forth. And that brings us to the end of another episode of Having Children. No, to another episode of Privy. Thank you guys so much for being here. I want to say, keep your eyes open. In the month of September, we have some really cool things happening, and we do not want you to miss it. We've got a couple cool partnerships. I've got a cool project that I'm going to be putting out to y'all. I hope that you can support it. The best thing that you can do for Privy is share the show. Send it to a friend. Send it to an enemy. Send it to your best friend. Send it to your brother. Send it to your mother. Send it to your priest. Do it. But just send this thing far and wide, because we're going to try to pop some things off. We got a lot in store. We're getting excited for it. So share the show with a friend. You can follow the show on social media. We're at Privycast on all social media. You can follow me, Hunter. I'm at Owlet7. We also have Randy Bowles. If you're not afraid of the Randy Bowles, you can follow at Randy Bowles. Check those out. You can also send us an email. Episode suggestions, comments, concerns, feedback. If you're a podcast and you're like, hey, I have this cool idea. Do you want to collaborate? Email us. We'd love to hear from you. Privycast@gmail.com. Email us with all those things. If you have pictures of a weird dump, if you have Toilet Tuesday submissions, if you have Randy Bowl submissions, you can send them there or on any social media. We would love to receive those. Check us out online. We're privy-cast.com. Check out the website. There's cool stuff going on over there. This brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Thank you, Kevin and Podington, for the use of your music this week. You can find their stuff in the diddly-doo below. This brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Thank you all for listening. Keep pooping in the free world. Yes, ratings and reviews. 5-star option I prefer. Leave the show a rating and review. For every rating and review we get on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, we send $1 to Wounded Warriors and Living Water International. And for those written reviews, we're going to bump that up a couple bucks to $2 or $3 per written review left. Give us the 5-star option preferred. It helps people find the show. Share the show with a friend. Go forth. I won't be multiplying, but here we are. This brings us to the end of another episode of Privy. Keep pooping in the free world. Own your stank. Wash yourself down there. And now, as always, don't forget to flush.